So, welcome to Jumbo IS and welcome to our lecture series called Daily MCQ Practice. In this lecture series, we cover a particular day's current affairs through a set of 4 to 5 MCQs. Okay. Now, if you're watching this lecture series for quite some time, you know what we are trying to achieve in this lecture series. We are trying to cover your current affairs as well as give you much needed MCQ practice for your next year's prelims examination. Now, if you just give me 10 minutes every day by covering these 4 to 5 MCQs from daily current affairs, if you just give me 10 minutes, these 10 minutes on a daily basis would amount to more than 1200 MCQs from current affairs alone by the time you're ready for your next year's prelims examination. So it might seem like we are only covering 4 to 5 MCQs, but 4 to 5 MCQs daily would add up to 1200 MCQs by the time you're ready for your next year's prelims examination. Okay, so these little habits pay in the end, pay a lot in the end. Okay, so therefore make this lecture series a part of your daily routine, a part of your daily habit. Okay, so without further delay, let's straight away jump to question number 1. Okay, consider the following statements regarding lateral entry scheme for bureaucracy. It allows specialists with domain expertise to handle government business. It was first proposed by Niti Aayog's 3-year action agenda in 2017. Lateral entrants would serve till the time they retire at the age of 60. How many of the above statements are correct? Now, if you're following news for quite some time, if you're following the news on a daily basis or regularly, you know that recently UPSC came out with an advertisement for lateral entry into the bureaucracy. The posts that UPSC was offering were the posts of Joint Secretary, Director, Deputy Deputy Secretary in various departments of central ministries. All right. Now, generally, these posts are handled by career bureaucrats. Now, who are career bureaucrats? IS officers who are selected through an exam by UPSC, the exam for which we all are preparing, right? But lateral entry scheme allows private sector employees, scientists, and other people who are working outside the government to straight away handle these posts, to straight away get appointed to these posts for a limited period of time. Okay. Now, the idea behind this lateral entry is to allow specialists with domain expertise. So, an ISRO scientist can be a joint secretary in Department of Science and Technology or Department of Space. All right. Similarly, a very good economist or a brilliant startup owner could handle the post of joint secretary or director in Ministry of Commerce, Department for Promotion of Industry, right? So this is lateral entry. So it allows specialists with domain expertise, that is correct. The scheme was first proposed by Niti Aayog's 3-year action agenda in 2017, and government actually allowed lateral entrants in 2018. Okay. Now these are not permanent employees. Okay. These will be employed for a 3-year contract, which can be extended up to 5 years, but not permanent. They're not employed permanently. They won't retire at the age of 60. So this is false. Only 2 statements, 1 and 2 are correct. The correct answer would be B. Okay. Question 2. Consider the following statements regarding crude oil consumption in India. More than 75% of our domestic crude oil consumption is met through imports. India is the 3rd largest consumer of crude oil in the world. India is a net importer of fuels and other petroleum products. Okay. Now look. Recently, Petroleum Ministry actually released the data, and Petroleum Ministry said that India's requirement for crude oil, India's domestic consumption requirement, for crude oil, 88% of it is met through imports, and it has risen. 88%. Last year it was 80%, last year it was around 76-77%. Okay. But 88% this year, in the first 4 months of financial year 2024-25, in the first 4 months, India's import dependency for its domestic consumption of crude oil has risen to 88%. So obviously 75%, more than 75% of domestic crude oil consumption is met through imports. This is absolutely correct. Now, India is the 3rd largest consumer of crude oil, absolutely correct. Okay, this is true, and is also one of the top importers of crude oil. Now look, India imports crude oil for two purposes. One, for its domestic consumption, domestic use. The other is for exports. What sort of exports? Look, India has a terrific refining capacity. Okay, India has so many petroleum refineries, more largely concentrated in Gujarat and Maharashtra. But India has terrific and brilliant and quite a lot refineries. Now, what do these refineries do? Look, these refineries take crude oil, refine it, and in the end, you get various petroleum products like petrol, diesel, kerosene, and many more. Okay, so crude oil is not used directly. Crude oil cannot be used in anything. Crude oil has to be refined first, and then only you can extract petrol, diesel out of it. Okay, now India imports crude oil, but India has so many refineries that not only India produces enough petrol, diesel, or refined products for its domestic use, India also exports a lot. In fact, in net terms, in net terms, India exports more fuel than it imports. So it imports crude oil, but it exports so many petroleum products of a higher value that India is actually a net exporter of fuel, not importer. So yes, we are one of the top importers of crude oil, but we are also one of the top exporters of petroleum products. In net terms, we export more than we import as far as petroleum products are concerned. So this is false because it was written importer over here. Okay, so the correct answer would be 1 and 2A. Question 3. Consider the following statements regarding lightning strikes in India. The highest number of cloud to lightning strikes occur in northern India. A 1 degree Celsius rise in long term global temperatures can cause a 10% increase in lightning strikes. Lightning related mortality can be reduced by growing palm trees on a massive scale. Okay, so which of the above statements is our correct? Now look, every year Government of India publishes annual lightning report. Okay, now the annual lightning report of 2023-24 has given certain facts. Now what does this annual lightning report does? Look, basically in many areas of our country, lightning is a disaster. Many people die because of lightning. Okay, so that is why Government of India every year publishes annual lightning report. In the annual lightning report of 2023-24, it was found that as far as cloud to lightning ratio is concerned, or cloud to lightning strikes are concerned, these are highest in central and eastern India. So you see more lightning per cloud in central and eastern India, not northern India. And that is why lightning related disasters also occur in central and eastern India, particularly Odisha. In fact, Odisha declared lightning as a state specific disaster in 2015 because many people, more than 3,000 people, have lost their lives due to lightning since 2015. So, from 2015 onwards, around 3,700 people have lost their lives. So, it's a state specific disaster. So, first statement is false because annual lightning report says cloud to lightning ratio is higher in central and eastern India, not northern India. Okay. Now, this report again said that global warming is contributing towards the frequency of lightning. Okay, a 1 degree Celsius rise in long term global temperatures can cause a 10% increase in lightning strikes. This is correct. Now, Odisha is suffering from lightning related deaths or injuries. That is why Odisha government decided to grow 20 lakh palm trees in the state. Now, palm trees are unusually quite handy to prevent lightning related disasters because palm trees are tall. Because they are tall, so their roofs actually absorb lightning strikes. So lightning rarely reaches the ground where people are there. Okay, so it has the advantage of height. Plus it has quite a lot of moisture content. Plus it has quite a lot of sap content. Okay, because of these features, palm trees are able to absorb lightning on a bigger scale. Okay, so that is why lightning related mortality can be reduced by growing palm trees, and that is why Odisha is growing 20 lakh palm trees in Odisha. So this is correct. Answer B. And last, consider the following regarding Indian diaspora in USA. Indian Americans make up to 1.5% of US population. 60% of all US hotels are owned by Indian Americans. Indian Americans contribute around 300 billion in taxes to USA. Now, Indians contribute a lot to American economy and society. Now, this was actually quoted in a report published by an NGO. Okay, so what happened was there was this organization, not for profit, not a non-profit organization called Indiaspora. It is a USA based organization. So there is, I mean, India is there in its name, but it's a USA based organization, not for profit. Okay, it actually released a report, and in that report it has quoted various facts which prove that despite their small population in USA, Indians contribute a lot towards American society and American economy. All the three statements are correct, plus this report also mentioned other facts. There are so many startups that are owned by Indians. There are so many universities in which leadership position is held by an Indian. Indians contribute a lot towards charity, towards taxes. A lot, many facts have been mentioned, which prove that Indians contribute way more than their size. Indians punch way above their weight as far as contribution to American society is concerned. Okay, Indian Americans make up to only 1%, 1.5% of the US population, but they contribute around $300 billion every year in taxes. This statement is correct, this statement is correct, and 60% of all US hotels are owned by Indian Americans, despite the fact that they are just 1.5% of American population. So these three facts are correct, and many more were quoted in this report by Indiaspora. Now, the title of this report was Small Community, Big Contributions, Boundless Horizons. The Indian diaspora in US. This is the title of the report. Small community, yes, very little population, big contributions, way more than their size, and boundless horizons. The future looks very bright. The Indian diaspora in USA. In fact, they are not making up these facts. Indiaspora is not making up these facts. In fact, Indiaspora actually took the data from another USA-based institute called Migration Policy Institute. So all these facts mentioned in this report are taken from Migration Policy Institute's data. Okay, so it's quite authentic. All right, so all are correct. Okay, and with that, we conclude today's session. Thank you so much for watching, everyone. And I'm sure that it added value to your preparation, and it would add more value if you are consistent and regular with this lecture series. So, hoping that you are consistent and regular with this lecture series, I would like to conclude this session with the promise of seeing you again with another set of 4 to 5 MCQs. Thank you, everyone.